Right. Welcome back to World's Gone Mad podcast. I'm Garry Butterfield. It is April the 3rd, Friday. I'm in my little studio here. It is 5 a.m. in the morning. There is zero traffic outside my window. The missus is getting ready for work, and I'm here podcasting. And we are in the middle of this social distancing lockdown in Australia. Where I currently live, it is the south of Adelaide in Seaford. And we're in this social distancing nightmare that we are currently in. It's crazy, isn't it? And if you listen to the... Alright, hold on a minute. Before I start ripping on the Prime Minister, I'm going to give him some dues, because in my last podcast, I was very critical and had a lot of criticism for him about not looking after Australians, shutting down the economy. And since that podcast, which was a few days ago, he has announced a massive amount of money that he's giving to the Australians. He's got free childcare on the go for 6 months. He's covering people's wages that have lost their job to coronavirus for a while. He's done some things. He's offered up a lot of money to help a lot of Australians, which is exactly what I was calling for. And I'm glad that, he's doing what he needs to do to look after Australia. But I still do not agree with this social distancing lockdown that we have here in Australia. He's talking about these restrictions will be in place for at least another 90 days. The laws that came into effect on Tuesday, meaning they will be in place until June 29th. That's 90 days, isn't it? So 3-month lockdown, and he's threatening if the public get too frustrated with that and just are seen out doing shit, that he's going to make it till October, a 6-month lockdown. Fuck, man, really? Really? You know how many people have died in Australia from coronavirus since the start of the year? 27. 27 people. It's not much, and they're all old. They're all old as shit. I'm not saying that old people's lives don't matter, because they do. But we're locking up the whole country for 27 deaths, and a third of those deaths, people could have just died on their own because they were so fucking old. It's crazy. Locking up the whole country, destroying businesses for 27 people. I've got a fun fact for you. 27 people have died, alcohol-related deaths, this year in Australia from coronavirus. Alcohol-related deaths. Let's talk about that for a second. 5,797 Australians aged between 15 and, older shit, die from alcohol-related deaths every single year. Close to 6,000. That's 16 people a day die from alcohol-related deaths in Australia. Every 90 minutes, every hour and a half, here in Australia, some poor fucker kills over because of alcohol. This week alone, it's Friday. In the last 2 days alone, more people have died from alcohol-related deaths than from coronavirus. But I can walk down 400 meters to my right now, or maybe not right now because it's 5 o'clock in the morning, but in a couple of hours, go down and buy 10 bottles of spirits under these fucking new laws. I can buy alcohol out the fucking yin-yang. 16 people die a day in Australia from alcohol-related deaths. Now, why? There's got to be something else behind these lockdowns, these social distancing. Martial law, Agenda 21. I saw on YouTube in WA, they had a DJI Aspire. I'm a drone nerd, right? It was a DJI Aspire drone, which is about $9,000 to $15,000 worth of drone equipment. It had police colours on it, It was all dressed up. It had a fucking 2 LED red and blue lights on it, and it had police. It was a WA police drone, a $15,000 drone that the police are flying around and telling people, shoving it in people's faces, going, "Why are you outside? Go home." I know it's early days for this technology, so all it was doing was flying around telling people what to do. But just wait. Just you fucking wait. They'll have facial recognition. They'll be flying around telling you, yep, this person. They'll know exactly who you are. They'll send out the fine, just like a speed camera and their facial recognition. So it's coming. We're going to be controlled by fucking drones. Not allowed outside. The government tell you, oh, you've got a sniffle. You now have to stay home for 2 weeks. It's just this total control state. I don't like it, man. I don't like it. And what's going to be left of Australia after all this is blown over? If it blows over. October? Really? Fuck, man. I mean, I went out yesterday, right? Here in South Australia, we've had about... Hold on, let me scroll up a little bit. We have currently 385 cases of coronavirus in the state, which is fuck all, right? I went down to Port Noarlunga South yesterday, the river mouth, early in the morning, for exercise. We're allowed exercise. We're allowed outside for exercise here in South Australia at the moment. And I went down there to film some things, suss out, basically to film some things. And it was beautiful yesterday morning. Sun was out, there was no wind, and fuck me, was there a lot of people around. There were people surfing, people hanging out in the park. At the moment they said, you got no outdoor gyms, no indoor gyms. But there was these fuckers there on the grass setting up their cones, had their music blaring, they're doing their CrossFit and shit. People walking their dogs, riding their bike, hanging out in the park. There were literally hundreds of people. Not all hanging out like right next to each other, but within a space, on the beach, in the water, in the parks, up all along the Esplanade there. It was fucking gorgeous. And it was, I'm going to say this, it was awesome to see people just going, you know what? This is bullshit. Do you know anyone who's got coronavirus? Email me at wgmpod@gmail.com if you know anyone who's got coronavirus. If you've heard of anyone who's got coronavirus. Do you know of anyone who's even been tested for coronavirus? Like I said in my first episode, we couldn't even get my missus tested. She was fucking at the doctor, dying. And she couldn't get a test done. The cat is over there, fucking around with the window, pissing me off. Blinds and shit. Cat's been fed. Now he's in there causing chaos. So like I said, I was out there down at Port Noarlunga yesterday for about an hour and a half filming some shit, sussing out what's going on, and it was awesome. It was a beautiful morning. I was in a nice little secluded spot trying to get some cinematic shots of some water over some rocks, and I was just flat out focused on my camera, and this dog had come pretty close and just started barking, and I was like, yeah. I looked up and there was this beautiful doggy there, and I was like, oh, hi doggy. I went and pat the doggy, and this woman who was the owner of the dog, she wasn't like, oh, stay away, like social distance from my fucking dog. And I, said hello to her and pat the dog for a bit. And out in the real world, no one is doing this fucking panic. Coronavirus is going to kill everyone. Everyone's just living their lives, doing their thing, enjoying some beautiful Australia. Oi! Now the cat's trying to rip off the foam off the wall. I'm trying to shut him out. Piss off. Alright, the cat's been ejected. And we'll hear him scratching at the door in 3, 2, 1. No, he's alright. But yeah, wow. I love seeing people out just enjoying the beach and the scenery and the beautiful spot that we live, that is Seaford and down south here in Adelaide. So fuck Scott Morrison and his... Why are they just overhyping the panic? Why are they overhyping the need for this lockdown? Reading this article here, Mr. Morrison said he didn't want to see Australians become so frustrated with the guidelines if they were tightened further that they might otherwise walk away from the measures that we already have. Yeah, we're frustrated. We think they're fucking dumb. 27 people. And all of them old as shit. It's just, I don't know. It's weird. Why these lives, these deaths, they can't really, there's no agenda behind alcohol related deaths. 6,000 a year, 16 a day, one every hour and a half. What kind of fucking, they can't, I don't know. They can't bring in any agendas or any, they can't do anything good with those type of deaths, but they can do some fucking good stuff for them with these 27 coronavirus deaths, can't they? They can bring in some new laws, take away some more rights. They can sell us a solution, can't they? That's usually what the New World Order or career politicians want. They like to sell you a problem, and they also like to sell you, oh, don't worry, we have the solution to this problem. You guys are dumb. You guys can't think for yourself. You need us, the government. Yeah. You need us. You need us. We don't fucking need you. We need less of you. That's what we need. We need more people like old mate that was standing out the front of Centrelink handing out $100 bills. What else have we got cracking on here with this shitty news.com.au website? Scrolling through news.com.au here. There's a lot of coronavirus crap, as you would expect. One of them that's taken my eye is Chinese lockdown and virus spike fears. China is lying about coronavirus cases. Yeah, no shit. That's what China do. They're fucking communists. It's crazy because here in Australia, I think the coronavirus is a bit of a farce. Not that deadly. Nothing really to worry about. If you're healthy, you've got a good immune system, you'll be fine. I reckon even if you're old or young, I'm not worried about my parents catching it. I think they'll be fine. But China, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more going on there than what they say. I listened to a podcast yesterday. Sam Tripoli, Eddie Bravo, Tinfoil Hat podcast. They had Edge of Wonder on. Now, anyone who's deep into conspiracies, they will know Edge of Wonder. They would know Tinfoil Hat podcast. And they had the Edge of Wonder dudes on yesterday, and they were saying some crazy shit about China, that's for sure. They were saying they've talked to people and doctors in Wuhan, and we know the Chinese government suppress everything that the people do and say. But that was these doctors they were talking to were saying, this virus is out of control. More people are dying than they say. A lot more even. They've estimated 1 million people have died. Apparently, cremation centres are just running around the clock, 24/7. And the way it works over there, apparently, the mortuaries report the numbers back to the government, and they report the numbers that way. It's not like if you have a relative or a family member die, you then file the death certificate and to the government or whatever. You just give it to the mortuary. It's all handled by the mortuary, and they report the numbers back to the government. So you know those numbers can be fucked with. So, I don't know. The Edge of Wonder dudes were saying some pretty crazy shit about that. Not only were they saying that China is lying about the death toll and people are just killing over left, right, and centre. They say people are still dying in the streets, falling over in the streets, just killing over left, right, and centre. And they also said there's a second wave coming, a second virus. Not just coronavirus. They're saying there's this new souped up second wave's going to come through, and the Chinese government are holding off giving any info out, and they're going to try to blame it on someone else. I'm assuming the US releasing more shit into their country. So I don't know. I don't listen to a whole lot of the Edge of Wonder boys. I listen to here and there their interview with Zach Voorhees. Voorhees? The Google employee. That was an awesome one. But a lot of their shit I don't listen to. So I was listening to this podcast yesterday, and they said that type of shit. I'm like, really? Second strain? And it's going to come through even worse? And they're going to try to blame it on America? Okay. We'll see how that pans out. But I fucking hope that doesn't happen. But it's crazy because I do think there is some shit going on with this coronavirus in China. But I don't think it's that bad here in Australia. Maybe just the population. There are so many people. Not enough hospitals, not enough beds, that more people die. It seems like whatever part of the country, or part of the world I should say, you get a slightly different effect, maybe strain, different DNA, different races of people, so they're affected differently. So Italy, Iran, and China, man, those fuckers are hit hard. Here in Australia, it doesn't seem that bad. Doesn't seem that bad. But anyway, fuck all this coronavirus talk. Let's talk about some sports. Not that there's any sports going on right now, but let's get onto the Premier League real quick. A player we've been looking at signing, us as in Man United, it was Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. Now, over the weekend, he was... The UK's in massive lockdown at the moment, and one of his buddies rings him up and says, "Hey, come around for a drink." 3 a.m, and we're looking at signing Jack Grealish. And gets in his car. He's probably fucking pissed as. Gets in his car, cruises down the street, and smashes into a parked car. Fucks up his car, and the car gets hassled out in the news. Idiot, you're supposed to be at home and you're out driving around. These Premier League players are on, hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, and he's out complaining about, "I'm stuck inside. It's hard being stuck in my $5 million mansion. I need to go out and do some shit and crash into some stuff." So I thought that was pretty funny. There's not much going on in the Premier League right now, so anything related to a Premier League player makes the news. But the one sport that was still going ahead, that we all thought was going to get called off because it seems to be fucking cursed, is the Tony Ferguson and Khabib Nurmagomedov fight, this is the 4th time it's supposed to happen, UFC. UFC had one fight, or one card recently where they where they fought behind closed doors, and it was a little weird, but this Ferguson-Khabib fight has been talked about for years, and it's going to be one of the best fights in UFC history, and it seems like Dana White knows that there's no other sport on at the moment, and was... Excuse me. Oh, fuck. And was just putting all his eggs into this. If this is the only sporting event on, I'll be able to make a fucking fortune from it. And they were going ahead at all costs. When you do a UFC fight, if you're a fighter, you go into camp. You go into pretty much self-isolation and lockdown because you have no one around you but your team. You fucking go out to somewhere far, like out in the middle of the woods, Big Bear or whatever, and you train for 6-8 weeks non-stop every day, and you do not do anything other than train and stay away from people. So I get it how they thought they could have had this fight go on, but Khabib's, he's from Dagestan, and they're in Russia at the moment, and they're on lockdown. Russia said no one's going in or out. The Khabib fight was supposed to be, I think, April 19th. It's the 3rd today, and now Khabib can't leave Russia, so fuck. That's gone down the toilet. I mean, we all knew it was going to happen, didn't we? We all knew it was going to get called off for some reason, because that's what happens with this fucking fight. Now they're talking about finding a replacement. Fuck the replacement. No one wants the replacement because people want to see Khabib and Ferguson. No one's going to give a fuck even for someone good. I mean, people will watch it because there's nothing else on, but they'll be watching it and just thinking, man, this is not the Khabib fight. This is not the fight we want to see, but there's nothing else on. It's just not worth it. Just push it back. Just wait. Just wait a month. These two fighters have been training. They've been in camp for, I don't know, a month or two already. Just push it back a few weeks, 4 weeks. Because if they don't push it back and Khabib's trapped in Russia and they find Ferguson someone else to fight, well then Khabib and Ferguson are never going to fight. They won't be fighting this year, will they? It's a fucking mess. Just push it back. I hope Dana White doesn't just go try to make a fight just for the sake of being the only sporting event going at this point in time. So yeah, I reckon that's probably going to be about it for this podcast. It's a bit all over the shop. Coronavirus, 27 deaths in Australia. 16 people die every day of alcohol-related deaths, but that doesn't matter. We can't attach any cool new laws or take away more of your rights with the alcohol-related deaths. And the government make a shit ton of money from alcohol. It's like cigarettes. A pack of cigarettes costs, what, $40? And I bet $37 of that is fucking tax. So yeah, if the government can make some good coin off it, they'll keep it going. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one. A little bit of Premier League, a little bit of Khabib talk. But my plans for the rest of the day are edit up this podcast, get it uploaded. I did a vlog. Like I said, I went to the beach yesterday, filmed some shit. I'm going to edit that video, put it up on Visual Creation Videos. That's my YouTube for my website. My website is visualcreation.com.au. Get on that email. Get on the website. Email me if you need any work done. Email me at wgmpod@gmail.com if you've got any World's Gone Mad related comments or topics we need to talk about. But yeah, I reckon that's about it for me today. So stay safe, stay calm, and I'll talk to you soon. Till then.
Future